So I'm now going to show you a novel use for dominoes, which is not, as we just saw, making mosaics. And as I'm sure most people are familiar, the standard use for dominoes is, of course, covering chessboards. I believe there's a game you can use them for, but that's just urban legend. The main use for me, though, is standing them up and then toppling them over. And if you've not seen this before, you can think of this as sending a signal along a chain. But we can, of course, get far more complicated. So this is the arrangement for two inputs and a single output. And in this case, the signal only makes it through if you bump both of them. Just one by itself will block itself along the way. But if you had bumped both, it will have stopped the other one from stopping itself and gone through. Now, people familiar with this will see that this is a AND gate, because you have to have one input and the other one for the output to fall over. And you can have far more complicated what are called logic gates. This is the exclusive OR. It only goes through if there's one or the other one, but not both. And you can build that circuit out of dominoes. Here it is. If you bump either one by itself, it will go through. If you bump them both simultaneously, they collide in the middle and stop. Now, a few of you know where I'm going with this, by the way. And if you know what's happening, my only advice is, for now, just remain calm. We have a long way to go with these dominoes, and if you get too emotional now, you're not going to have the emotional room to move later on. Because what we're going to do is get more and more complicated circuits. So this is what would happen if we combined them both. So this would be two inputs, two outputs. One is the AND gate output, one's the exclusive OR output. And if you look at them, they are the binary numbers for the number of inputs you have knocked over. This is a circuit of dominoes which can count how many inputs you have hit. You can build it. I went and bought about 200 dominoes. You can assemble. This is my circuit here. And this will work. This circuit will count how many inputs you knock over. But much like when we saw Neil doing the marble runs, you think, well, how far can we take this? Right? How far could we scale up? What is very basic computing circuit? So the next step up would be the binary. Well, this is the binary full adder, which takes three inputs and counts them and gives you the two-digit output. And if you want to make that, unfortunately, this is where it does scale a bit ridiculously. You need a couple thousand dominoes to be able to build a reliable circuit which will do this. It looks a lot like that. This is at the University of Manchester. I work at Queen Mary University of London. I went up to some friends because they have a much flatter floor in their maths department, and we were able to build it. If you chain three of these together, you can add two three-digit binary numbers and get the four-digit readout. But that requires approximately 10,000 dominoes, which is why, in theory, if you had that many dominoes, it would look a lot like this. In fact, I'm going to set this running because the video does take a second. If you're unfamiliar with binary addition using circuits, we have the units columns are the two inputs over here, which we left empty. In this particular calculation, what we're doing is we picked a domino at random. We are adding 4 to 6. So input A is 4, input B is 6, so there are no units, but the 2's column is where the fun happens, right? Because only B has a 2, so that signal's gone into that circuit. It should come out on the outputs on the far right. So the outputs are hiding over here, and they go up in order. There's a units, 2's, 4's, and 8's, as you would expect from a binary. Oh, there we go. The 2's just come through, and then over here the 4's are now adding themselves. This took 12 of us 6 hours to balance all the dominoes up. It runs at a rate of approximately 46 microhertz, because you can run it. Oh, there, oh, look at that. It worked, and the crowd's gone the correct amount of wild. So this, a very facetious person did point out it took us all day to prove that 4 plus 6 equals 2 plus 8. But the concept is there that it's able to add it and give you the readout. I mean, to scale up from here, and hypothetically, this is what you can do next. You could have two 4-digit inputs and a 5-digit readout, but that requires a ridiculous number of dominoes. If you want to have a go, oh, my gift exchange, you're all going to get about 10,000 dominoes. So you have to print them yourselves. But I've included the model. So no, I've got the circuit diagrams and all the logistical problems. If you want to have a go, I'm going to very quickly show you what happened. This one did not work. Right? But in theory, it is a working computer. And I did this because I wanted to show people at a very basic levels how a processor works. But you wouldn't actually do any real computation on this. Like Neil said, for a start, the screen has a terrible resolution. But it will actually run. And if you want to find out more about this, I'm going to put a YouTube video up in about a week's time. We'll finish editing it. I'll probably put up a number file at the... Oh, if I look vaguely familiar but in higher resolution than normal, I'm one of the people involved in the Numberphile channel. I also, well, for the US audience, I'm also a presenter on a TV show called Outrageous Acts of Science. It's on Discovery, which means no one is watching it. But if you want to get in touch, my name is Matt Parker, go to my website. It will appear on there. I'm well aware the S offends some of you, but I'm bilingual, so both of these options work quite nicely. If you want the teaching resources, my education, you probably don't like .co.uk either, do you? So in fact, both of these work, so that's fine. Actually, the Stand Up Maths one works with .co.uk and .com, and .co.uk works with and without the S. There are a lot of options. You may want to imagine them as a plot of the number of dots in my URL against the number of hyphens versus the number of S's. Any of these will work. I call this the cube of communication. My web presence has got a Hamming distance of 1. And I believe, if I point out, I have a book coming out called Things to Make and Do in the Fourth Dimension by Penguin in the UK and FSG in the US. This entire trip is now tax deductible. So, the actual circuit that didn't work. 2 things went wrong. Number 1, we had signal bleed. If you watch that domino right there, it should not move. But as the other one comes in along the side, you will see a domino falls out, and look at that. Again, in slow motion. Here it comes, ready? So we got 1 false output that managed to get through, and it shouldn't have. Another one should have been blocked, right? So this signal here should not get through. It's okay, it's going to be blocked by this one. This one's going to come around this way like that, and bam, it's going to... I was inspired by American football, all right? It's going to be stopped right there. Unfortunately, this did not work. If I actually set the thing going, you will see the signal that's coming in to block the other one. Here it comes. Look, it's going to make it, it's going to make it, and no! Oh, so we did actually get the correct answer. But on top of that, we got 2 incorrect answers. So in theory, it works. If anyone wants to borrow 10,000 dominoes, they're in my garage now. If you want to get in touch at all, oh, by the way, I'm along with Colin Wright, the overly excited juggling guy. I'm involved in the guy with the ring and the chain. There he is. He's waving and someone else is pointing at him. He hires that guy just to walk around behind him at all times and do this. So we run Maths Jam in the UK, so do come up and say hello. And a few people have said hi because they know me only from Twitter. So if you want to see me from Twitter, I'm at Stand Up Maths. I am aware some of you again are offended by the presence or potential lack of an S. So if you're prepared to accept the @ symbol as a 4th orthogonal direction, I look forward to your hyper communication. Thank you all very much.